the Latin American market is a very interesting market. Unlike North America and Europe, it's a far less developed ecosystem. So as a result, you're currently seeing companies throwing a large amount of capital trying to capture the growth. Looking at the trends of what's actually happening, the current ecosystem mostly comprises of small to mid-sized data centers. But if you look at the projects that are currently being built and have recently opened, many of them are very large data centers, ranging between 150 to 250,000 square feet. And we are seeing the rise of massive data center campuses. An example would be one that Cloud HQ is opening in Sao Paulo, which sits at around 1.6 million square feet. As for the time frame of the construction and the speed of the market penetration of these large data centers, this can really vary. Cloud HQ is currently planning a very large data center in Querétaro in Mexico. However, that project hasn't broken ground yet. But at the same time, that 1.6 million square foot data center is currently under construction. They've broken ground. So we don't exactly know when a project will break ground, even if it is on the website. But what we can confirm is that this progress is happening at a very rapid pace. And it is likely to continue this way as long as demand is high. The stipulation for a data center being built would obviously be demand. Now, the next logical point would be, why is there this shift to large data centers from the previous ecosystem of small to mid-size? And that would mainly hinge on the approach given by the approach of the owners of those data center companies. These are mostly owned by private equity institutions, and previously these institutions have had great success expanding into developed markets such as the US and Europe by leveraging the principle of economies of scale. So what they've essentially done is built a very large data center to undercut the competition by providing services for cheaper. They're applying the same principle to the Latin American market. In terms of where this development is happening, the vast majority of data center building is occurring in Brazil and Mexico. In Brazil, about 85% of new data centers are being built in Sao Paulo. And in Brazil, Querétaro is the main hub, especially for hyperscalers, and tier 2 cloud service providers. An example would be Scala Data Centers have recently in 2023 opened 226,000 square foot data centers, and they have plans for a couple more. So, and one interesting note, one final point I'd like to make is that the ecosystem is changing, and this is starting in Latin America, but it is very different to how the ecosystem is developed in Europe and the United States. The difference is that these very large data centers have the ability to house the entire data center industry, from hyperscaler to tier 2 cloud service provider to communication service provider workload. This is very different to what's happening in the US, where you'd have a hyperscaler operating their own data center. So it's very important to look at the Latin American market, because the progressions that are occurring might have big implications of what's going to happen for the future of the data center industry.